The Quench, where you ask, we answer.
So now, research shows that great friendship leads to a longer livelihood. So even if you have any sort of health issues, any sort of diseases, if you are in a group of good friends, you will be able to live longer. Not my words, but the words of research scientists. So let's talk about it. Shall we talk about it? Have you ever felt that your friend is overstepping into your boundaries? Have you ever felt that you're walking on eggshells when you're around your friends? Have you ever felt that your friendship is becoming too toxic? Have you ever started avoiding your friends? Have you blocked them on social media platforms? Have you said you're not home when your friend is literally standing at the door? If you can relate to these scenarios, let us know, because today we are talking about friendship and boundaries. A conversation that we need to have, we ought to have had, and a conversation that we need to put out there, that it is important to set boundaries in friendship. Once again, my name is Wangeshi Karemi, and this is The Quench, where you ask and we answer. I am joined by Pastor Joseph and Pastor Kimani, and a very knowledgeable and diverse audience that is going to help us see through the ideologies behind boundaries and friendship. So once again, let's do a round of applause just to put it out there and to warm up the scenery. And I guess the first question that we will have today is the definition of a friend and boundaries in relation to this specific context. And I'll start with Pastor Joseph, because you're just next to me. What would be your definition of a friend?
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so much grateful. My definition of a friend, it is somebody that you can, it's close to you, especially when things are not very okay. Or this somebody who is always there for you. Somebody who is always there for you. In my definition, that's a friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Anytime you need him, be it you are okay or you are not okay, he is or she is always there for you.
Okay, okay. Pastor Kimani, what is the definition of a friend?
Thank you, Wageshi. Friend, according to me, and we are saying that this is a person, a close person, who walks the journey together with you in and out of season. That is a person who can interact with you, you can peg on, you can rely on.
Okay. Very simple definitions of a friend there. And I would say, if you're relating to someone, you have a sort of relationship. This person in this context can be your friend. They could be a colleague, they could be an acquaintance from home, they could be a family member. If you're relating to someone in any sort of context, and in this particular episode, this person could be your friend. Now, with that definition of a friend, let us try and define boundaries. What would be your definition of a boundary? And I think this time let's start with Pastor Kimani and then come to Pastor Joseph.
Thank you. Boundaries, when we are talking of boundaries, we are saying of what you are not supposed to go beyond. What you are setting yourself not to go beyond. For reasons, one, you need security. You need to understand yourself. Because if somebody oversteps, then it means that you have to part ways. Boundaries are set for the sake of understanding your own self and where you are not supposed to go, the do's and the don'ts.
The do's and the don'ts, according to Pastor Kimani. How about you, Pastor Joseph?
I would say that boundaries are my jurisdictions, my area, my domain.
Your domain.
My area of operation, my domain. You know, the areas where I operate, and when someone crosses, for example, this is what I believe, this is what I want, this is what I accept, this is what I'm comfortable with. So if you do something which I'm not comfortable with, then you have crossed the boundaries. So boundaries, they are my jurisdictions. That is what I would like to say.
Now, to use Pastor Joseph's words, boundaries are jurisdiction. Can we agree all that sometimes the people that we relate to, that we have defined as friends, sometimes do cross those boundaries?
True.
Yeah.
Can we all agree that
Yeah,
sometimes they do?
yeah, absolutely.
I see you shaking your hand, and I want to hear those scenarios that at the times you felt that your friend was going beyond a certain boundary. And they don't have to have done something major. Could be the small things. But tell us so that we can get examples from those ones at home. And if you're at home and you want to share a scenario where you felt your friend went beyond a certain boundary that you had kept, keep engaging us on the social media platforms that we are engaging you at, on Facebook, on YouTube, and every other platform. Let us know what you think. Tell us what time and what did your friend do. Now, I want to get this from the audiences. When did you feel your friend was overstepping?
There's a situation where one of my friend is a schoolmate. Let me say a schoolmate. So he told me he was coming from somewhere. So he told me he was going to stay at my house maybe one day.
Okay.
To correct something from the school. Then he was like, he overstayed like 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
So yeah, even like, I was so, the hospitality I had, like, so this guy is still here. So like the budget I planned for the other things, so now it is complicated. So I had to ask myself, is it wrong if I tell him like he has to go, but he won't feel good?
He won't feel good, yes.
Yeah, so such a kind of a thing, I was like, so I had to fake something, like somebody's calling, my girlfriend is calling, so that person, she had to call.
I want us to take note on what he did. What he did when he realized that his boundary was being overstepped. Okay. He lied.
I told God, I know it is not good to do this, but sometimes I don't have any way. So I had to work for some things, and maybe I want to go somewhere and this guy is here. He's new here. So like, I had to fake something. Like, she called me and she told me, I'm coming tomorrow. Then I was like, so you will come to maybe even the other day than tomorrow. She told me, no, I'm coming tomorrow, because I told her to say like that. So she did it. And in the right way, the guy had the conversation. So the guy has to move. Like, okay, I gave him the money to go because I don't have a choice. Like, this guy is here. So I had to do it.
So you had to invite someone else to come and tell them to leave?
No. The girl called me on phone and she was like, she's my girlfriend now. She will come at the house. So like, we can't stay two men. And I love privacy, by the way. So like, the privacy is good.
The staying two men is a discussion we'll have another day.
Yeah.
All right, can we have another scenario? Yes?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Christine Mkala. I'll talk of this example from personal experience, of course. I had a friend of mine who's of a guy now, a boy. So he was my friend, and you know, it's good to have friends. Of course, it's good to have friends and to make the best out of each and every one of you meet and interact with. So he's a good friend of mine, and we happen to be in the same institution. So luckily enough, he used to at least teach me one or two things concerning IT. So with time, akaanza kuleta issues zingine, anataka kuwa boyfriend, a lover, you know. So I felt so pissed off, and you know, I had to end that relationship because, you know, once he's into that other thing aside relationship, of course, definitely the worth of that relationships comes to an end. Yeah, so I had to leave him.
It was not mutual.
It wasn't.
It was not. Okay. Let's get another one.
I'm Peter, and personally, I love personal boundaries, and I won't narrow it down to a specific scenario, but I just love that personal space, that if it is in my house, that I don't want to be visited at this time and this time. If they are my close friends, I don't have to follow them or follow each other in every place that they are going just because we are friends. I just need that personal and long time. And when we come close friends, maybe some people tend to misuse it, that now that you are close friends, where you are, I must be there. You have to come in my house at any time that you feel like, even without informing me. But for me, it's no.
Yeah. So you have people visiting you at which hours?
You just have to notify me.
In the middle of the night?
No. As long as you are coming, even during the day, you just have to notify me that you are
You're coming. Yes, it is your space.
Yeah.
People need to tell you they're coming, not surprise you. All right, so let's take it back to our panelists. Let's get to know, first of all, from your own personal experience, have you had points when you feel your friends are quite overstepping? And then also, let's talk about the examples that we've been given here. How do you deal with it? You notice something, the examples that we've been given, that either relationships had to end, or someone had to feel extremely uncomfortable, or they had to make up a story. Why could we not have the guts to tell someone on their faces, you are overstepping? So let's discuss that. But let's do it in this order. First, tell us your scenario. And let's start with Pastor Joseph. Have you ever had someone overstep into your space?
Yeah. Many times.
Hey, okay.
But I will first of all talk about the one when I was around in class 4.
Oh.
In primary school. I had some 2 friends, 2 boys. And they were not very good conduct-wise. So they were taking tobacco. So
Class 4.
yeah, class 4. Class 4, they were taking tobacco. So I was born again. I was born again then. So one day they were forcing me to take tobacco, like what they do. One day they lured me to in a particular house, and they forced me to take tobacco. And because I was born again, I refused.
Okay.
So they really beat me up. A class 4 boy. I was really beat.
And this is supposed to be your friends.
Yeah, they were my friends, my neighbors. You see,
People you have grown up with.
people we've grown up with.
What?
So and for them, they totally crossed the boundaries, my
They did.
jurisdiction, because they were even wanted me to compromise salvation. So, but that relationship had to end. By the way, we ended that relationship. Today, I don't want to talk about where they went, because you would not like even to see them where they are, because they continued that way. One of them, unfortunately, became an armed robber and had to be gunned down.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah,
But I want to take note of a word that he said. He said the word compromise, okay? Yeah. And I want us to just hold that thought on somewhere. He said the word compromise. Compromise. In friendship, compromise is very important also, I think. I'm going to let Pastor Kimani tell us first his example.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Personally, I say that oftentimes boundaries are usually set at the onset of any relationship. And they keep building as the relationship continues.
All right.
Severally, because I've gone to several schools, as I say that I'm a teacher by profession, I'm a counseling psychologist. And at one time I was advised by one of my closest friends on how to cheat. I did not understand how. He was telling me, I want to teach you how to cheat.
How to cheat?
So he was trying to tell me on how to cheat.
In an exam of some sort?
In an exam.
Oh, okay.
Then, unfortunately, I decided to escape from the school and disappear for some time and then come back. Then he calls me again. Come back, please. The exam is due. Then...
this is cheating in
a
national examination.
In a national exam.
As a teacher?
As a teacher.
Oh, that is
So
bad.
I said, now, what is this now? It was so dangerous for anyone to be found or to be caught cheating, as we know that cheating is one of the ways or the vices that is not against the rules set by the examiners. Then I decided now I have to disappear. Once I decided to disappear, he calls me again. Come, I have the Mwakenya with me. So I decided now.
This is another teacher.
What do I do? One, I was a student teacher, a leader. Two, I was one of the pastors there in that institution. And then lastly, I was caught by the principal in town, and then he asked me, what is wrong? What are you doing here? The immediate thing that came to me, because I was advised by my friend, anybody comes on your way, use your brain, cheat immediately and move on. So I got the guts, and then I told the principal, maybe you are mistakening me, or this is a mistaken identity.
You don't. This is not my real face.
I cheated. That
I'm not
the person that is in school
It's not me.
is my twin brother.
Oh my God.
And I decided to give 100 shillings to the principal to take to the brother. Then I decided again to run to the school so that now he can give to the person concerned. I realized that these people, the so-called friends, can place you in a dungeon. Because immediately I was now wondering how I will run from the town to the school, to the exam room. Mark you, the exam was already done by somebody. But now the marking was the technique now. Because the handwriting, Yahuyu, is equivalent to mine, which is now fake. So the exam was cancelled.
That is so sad. And I want to point out, even though he didn't use the word compromise, did you guys note that he had to compromise over something that was not necessarily his idea? These are boundaries that have been overstepped, and the results of this are him compromising over something. And the question that I had asked before you gave us your scenarios was, how do you know that someone is crossing your boundaries?
Okay, number one thing, you must know your boundaries.
Yes.
You have to know your boundaries first. For example, now my boundaries then, I was born again. I'm not supposed to take tobacco. So if you tell me to take tobacco, you're crossing my boundaries.
So you know your do's and your don'ts.
Yeah,
You must
so
know them
you
first.
must know, I cannot, if you have not fenced your compound, you cannot sue me for trespass.
Okay.
Get that point?
I
If you have
beg to
not
differ.
fenced,
I beg to differ, and here is my view. What if you have never been in a scenario like that? I'm going to give an example. Felix, you told us your friend overstayed, yeah? You wanted him to stay with you. You wanted him to feel welcome, right? Say you had never been in a situation where you felt like someone overstayed their welcome. How would you know that you have a certain limit to people visiting you?
I'm saying, first of all, allow me to finish that. If you have not fenced your compound, you cannot sue somebody for trespass because you have not set your boundaries. So what I'm saying, first of all, set your boundaries, because once you set your boundaries, you know somebody has crossed that boundaries. Now, in the case of Felix now, it's a bit different now.
Yeah.
Because, for example, like in his case, and this is exactly what I would like to say. If somebody is crossing your boundaries, if you feel you are uncomfortable, please don't be a man pleaser or people pleaser. Tell that person, I am not comfortable if you continue being with me here for a number of reasons, and explain those reasons to that person.
It's easier said than done.
It is, but
It is easier said than done, yes.
It wasn't easy because I thought like I will lose my friend. Instead of that, and you feel bad. So I had to find another way.
But
it wasn't easy.
I know it is not easy, but I will not advise.
Already told me it is a 1 day visit. So it was more than 2 weeks and is now looking even for a job.
Okay, this is my advice now. Don't lie. Don't lie. What you're supposed to do, there is now the wisdom part of it. There is wisdom. You can, I've also had similar cases. Somebody visits you. I had a case, somebody visited me one day, then he brought other people.
They're no
So
longer
I had to
visiting.
feed them. 5 people were staying in my house, and I was a boy. I had to feed them. I was going to...
The budget for a month goes for
too
1
big.
week.
So what I did, anyway, I know it is not easy. It wasn't easy, but I didn't have to lie. What I did, for me, I left. That was my wisdom at that particular time. Yeah, I left for a day or two. Then when they felt hungry, they had to leave. I told them. So I didn't lie, but I used my wisdom. So
I feel like you had to compromise. You had to leave your own space.
No, something.
Pastor Kimani, tell us, how do you know that someone is overstepping your boundaries? And not what Pastor Joseph has said. You have to first know your boundaries. You have to first understand them yourself, so you can know when someone is actually overstepping them. And he has just a very nice analogy here. Said, if you do not fence your compound, how will I know when I'm stepping into your space? All right. So tell us, how do you know when someone is overstepping into your boundaries?
On a personal perspective, you have to understand that all of us are diverse and we have different ideologies on how to why we have friends. One, I have to understand why I have that friend and how he or she is spending time with me. Otherwise, if if somebody comes and overstays or takes time with me, then there is dangerous zones to be taken care of. Number two, somebody must be careful about how that person treats my values. Otherwise, I have my principles. Like, personally, I'm one of the disciplinarians, and I'm told that, hey, take care. If you are taken to Kimani, then it's better you be taken to be somebody else other than this person, because I have set my own values. And if somebody mistreats my values, then something is wrong. Number three, if that person is concerned about my emotional well-being, then I will be careful. Otherwise, like personally, I'm quite hot-tempered. Like those hot-tempered people, if you dare go beyond, then anything can happen. And that's why we walk out.
Pastor Kimani is very right when he talks about intent of your relationship. Yeah. As she said, she had a relationship with someone, and the intent of the relationship was to study, to learn in IT and things like that. But the gentleman changed his intentions, and he wanted to have her as a girlfriend. Yeah. So when the intent is misunderstood, things start to happen. But I want you to notice in all the examples that you gave, and in the examples that Pastor Joseph and Pastor Kimani gave, we were all very selfish. We were all thinking about ourselves. At what point do you start thinking about the next person? At what point do you start thinking about what is my hot temper going to do to the next person? What is my values and emotions? At what point am I even overstepping to the next person? And with that, I think we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will try and analyze friendships and boundaries. We will start looking at ourselves as not just victims, but as the toxic people in our friendships. So again, my name is Wangeshika Remi, and this is the Quench, where you ask and we answer. I'll see you right after the break.
The Quench, where you ask, we answer.